All right. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call our meeting to order today, the Economic Development Commission, and get a roll call started. Gary.
Here.
Okay. Joelle is present online. Nicole Pass, I am here. And then do we have Nick online? Or we're waiting for Nick to show up before we can do any voting.
No, we have a quorum.
Oh, we do.
We do have a quorum.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Okay, so have we all had a chance to look at the agenda? And can I get a motion to approve the agenda for today?
I motion to approve the agenda for today.
All right, do I have a second? Looking to Joelle online.
She might have.
Commissioner Gibson, can you hear us? I would say we need her to be able to hear us and respond.
Yeah, I think they're working on it over there.
Are you muted, Joelle?
She's not muted.
Good morning, Kelly.
She is. I think she was on her computer. Now she's going to try to get on her phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
We can hear that.
Who is that? Oh.
Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue. Please enter the meeting passcode followed by pound. You have joined the meeting as an attendee and will be muted throughout the meeting. Muted throughout the meeting. The host would like you to unmute your microphone. Press star 6 to unmute. Star 6 to unmute. Star 6. You are unmuted.
Going though.
I just took her.
Hopefully this will work. This is Joelle.
Joelle, we can hear you.
I am so sorry. I'm in Oakland. We're like the end of Earth or something.
Well, you sound great now. Welcome. And
Thank you.
we had Gary make a motion to approve the agenda for today. Would you like to second that motion?
A second.
All right. Then we'll move to public comment if we have any. All right, hearing none, again, public comment?
This might be a good time. Kelly, do you have anything that you would like to talk about since you're here? Since public comment's probably the best opportunity to, if you're ready.
A few things. So, Kelly, Coughlin Games. This year, some of you guys may know, I've been gone for about a month on medical leave. So I'm back and I had a lot of time to think about things. And so I started realizing that this is a year of education because I'm wondering, and just not to put anybody on the spot, and Paul, I want you to answer this too. Does everyone here understand our UGA, the urban growth area for our city? Do people know some of the laws that I've been reading a lot of comments, not from you guys, but from the community, and I'm realizing that we really need to have everybody educated to understand so that when they see these comments on Facebook and people come up and talk to them, that they understand where the city is coming from. Because I've seen a lot of this lately and heard a lot of comments. And I think maybe we need to go back to 101 and what we know may not know what you all know. And I think it's important being in this Economic Development Commission that is brought up. And the other part of it is we have affordable housing, but do you know that the state mandates how many affordable housing units that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't get away from not doing that. Even though we don't have services, we can't get away from it. And it's a very complicated thing to do. And so I'm just curious if maybe we need to go back. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But from what I'm hearing from people, I think I'm right. So I would just love to hear that from the commissioners and just see what their thoughts are, because I have been in economic development for over 20 years. And so I automatically know this stuff because of, and trust me, from coming from another state, coming to this state, what I thought I knew about economic development was completely different. So I just want to know from you, and maybe be able to tailor a little bit more on that. And also our tourism part is a really big, big part for this. And I don't think that I have done service enough to explain why we have had such a decrease in tourism and a decrease in sales, because it's not just tourism. There's a lot to do with what's happening up on the ridge as well. And so I just want to know from everybody what they would like to see and hear that I can bring back.
I always welcome the chance to become more educated on something. So I would be open to that.
Yeah, Kelly, I'll be honest with you, I'm still not even clear on specifically what you started out with. You said something about the Growth Act.
Urban Growth Management Act.
Okay, and then I'm not sure the connection on the education side. Is it education about how the Growth Act works?
Yeah.
And how it impacts,
Our city.
but in what way? I mean, just strictly a housing issue? Is that it?
Not just housing. We can't build like for instance. Oh, and the other thing that I don't know if you know, does everyone know that we used to have property that was up above the Salish Lodge that was supposed to have building there, and when the tribe purchased that, it's reservation land, so we no longer. That was going to be our last set of housing that was supposed to be up there. And so I don't think do you know about that either?
I'm aware of that. I actually came down and testified during that time.
Yeah, but I think
Welcome,
it's
Adrian.
a problem. I think it's a problem. And so I want to just help, because I feel like the more we know about all of these situations, the better we're going to be and better understand.
So just for clarity purposes, I'm not trying to get into the weeds now, or maybe we do get into the weeds now, I'm not sure. Specifically, the problem is, can you define it, or are we talking about pages of problems?
Well, no. So like the hospital, they like the property that's on the other side of the hospital, that is the Urban Growth Management Act. Mona, right? You're telling I'm right?
Urban growth boundary?
Urban growth
Sorry.
boundary.
And
Yeah.
they cannot build on that. Like they own some of the property there. They cannot, but you would know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if everybody else knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's property that we would have to, like the limits, like in Fall City, it doesn't really matter, but Fall City can't build anywhere. It's King County's Growth Management Act. And I'm not the smartest person on this. Mona is. So Mona would have to be answering some of the questions. So it's just that I know that we can't build. We cannot build. We want to do special housing and all this stuff. We can't. We're built out pretty much. Well, the back here we're not, but most of it. But we don't know that. I don't think most people don't know that. So I think that's what I'm saying, is that I think we need to know what our limitations are that we're here for. Does that make sense?
Joelle has her hand raised.
Oh, okay, Joelle.
Hi. So to be honest, I just Googled Urban Growth Management Act, so that shows how much I know. And yes, I would like to be educated because it sounds interesting and important. So what would the plan be for that? Like, you're going to send us some reading materials? Are we going to have a presentation?
So Mona is our expert on this because she's had to go through a lot of schooling on this. And I think that we should do a 101 and just explain to what our basics are of what we govern.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Kelly. That could be a discussion that we plan for in March, where we just kind of do a quick overview of the UGA, potential annexation areas, what our growth targets are from the state, and what the number of housing units are that we're being asked to accommodate. So we could certainly put that on the agenda. I could see if I could maybe get a couple experts to come in and speak to affordable housing. Might be
A
helpful.
chat GPT affordable housing, because I think it's very complicated.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Can-
no, I think
can-
that's a great idea.
I would support that. Can I ask a question though? And again, I'm trying to avoid being in the weeds now to make this more than an overview, but Mayor Ross got housing. I don't know if this is the same thing connected. It probably is. That housing requirement reduced. Was that part of the?
Yes,
growth action?
yes. City of Snoqualmie was the first city to actually go through what's called a reconciliation process. And Carnation also jumped on that bandwagon. So both cities had their growth targets reduced. But what that effectively did was that took away the market rate housing, and it only kept our growth targets, the half of the growth targets we were supposed to have. They put it all into affordable housing, the majority of it being in the 0 to 30% AMI category.
Okay, so average market,
Yes,
kind of like the
average
housing that's
median
owned by the
income.
hospital.
Income.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
gotcha. Which doesn't really make it affordable, does it?
There's a lot of complications with that, with
Yeah.
permanent supportive housing, without having transit to serve our area, without having the services
Mhm.
that we need here to provide for,
Income based.
support of that kind of housing. So,
So I would, yeah, for sure. I mean, I would support an education on that. My limited knowledge, which is, I'll emphasize, is what I'm more concerned about is to what extent the EC can really influence that because I think
yeah.
I kind of said this in a North Bend meeting when I made the comment that, look, I get affordable housing is a big deal. That it's just, it involved with so many government organizations, and I think it's so driven by city decision-making as well as county to the extent it influences it. I don't know, and state. But my biggest concern is the EC getting bogged down by affordable housing being the
Oh, no.
primary
we need-
task. That
yeah.
I'm just going on record as
Yeah.
that's just a concern I have. I'm not saying we can't help, not saying we can't influence or even comment, but that's probably my,
We can definitely help.
Yeah.
Definitely, because I think that's where I'm seeing where it's only one or two people that are out there talking about it, and not enough.
got it.
Not
Yeah,
enough.
I got you. I would love to learn more, for sure.
and I'd like to add really quickly that the Community Development Committee spent a lot of time last year working on going out for an RFQ, for example, and discussing bringing in workforce housing, senior housing. I mean, those are also components of the affordable housing that we need.
Right.
And we're hearing from a lot of people, I mean, it's all over Facebook. People, they want to live here, they want to work here, or maybe they do work here, but they're commuting so far that they can't afford to live here and do the commute. So workforce housing is a huge issue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we see a lot of that at the hospital for sure.
I'm sure you do, yeah.
Definitely do. So, and workforce is a really big problem that EDC needs to work on as well. Our workforce issue we've had, and I just want to give a couple of stats out because it's very interesting what's happened this past couple of years up here. We had over 120 businesses that were sold or that were that just closed in the past 3 years, which is unbelievable. And it is, we see more that are about to as well. And so I just think just understanding that picture helps you be a better commissioner to understand what we have possibilities. And your voice here matters. It is even though you think it doesn't, it does. It's very important that you're here.
Can I throw one ask for this to be scheduled meeting is for my edification, it's one thing to know what we have to do. It's another thing for me to know, for example, I'll just use Falls City, which probably is, they're not going to be able to do much, but I don't know what's going on around us specifically, because I think our ecosystem is bigger than just downtown or Snoqualmie. And, I mean, just to make up a story, if I found out that, Falls City is really our closest town, isn't it? Or is it?
It's not a
North
town,
Bend?
it's unincorporated area. It's not.
Okay, but if we found out that the unincorporated area is going to put 4,000 affordable housing units up between Falls City and Carnation, to me, that influences direction, right? And that's the part I would probably ask for, is that we just know more about what we're being mandated. And I get it, because this is out of my school of understanding, but if we're mandated to do it, we have to do it. Obviously, the city has to find a way to get it done. I get that. But to the extent that it's an urgent crisis, et cetera, I just can never, I'd love to have a sense of that.
Yeah.
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 And I'm not saying it's not. I just would like
And
a
that's
sense.
where I can come in because I do know all of those. I go to the city council.
That'd be
meetings,
great.
So yeah, I can definitely help with that. And then there's other things too that I would love to see come out of here. I've been absent from, not on my accord, but I was absent from here for a couple of years. And so being back on it, I think coming in and being able to voice some of this stuff is important because I am the whole valley. And so I do know what is happening with
Yeah.
all the different communities.
That's great.
Yeah. Yep. So anybody have any questions? Because I know there's lots more, but I just wanted to say that because it was something that I've been realizing, and I need help because I'm not the only person that.
Joelle, she's got, I think, a question.
Oh yeah, Joelle.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a really great idea, and I would love to learn more because, again, I said I had to Google it. Also, I don't know if this is on topic, but the presentation, Kelly, that you gave, was it 2 months, or I think it might be 3 months ago now?
Mhm.
We still have not received any follow-up on it from the city.
will
I think,
make sure-
Mona, were you going to send?
I'll get it
Okay.
to- I will get it to you. I will.
Okay.
It's a lot of things have changed on that, so I will get it to you and make sure you guys understand it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. We always appreciate you. Oh, yes.
Don't shoot me, just throwing something out there. Rather than wait till March to do this, we are going to be seating some new planning commissioners in the next few weeks. We could do it at the planning commission. Would you object to attending a night meeting and receiving the information there? We could probably get it to you sooner.
What time are those meetings and what day?
They start at 7 PM on,
First and third Mondays.
there you go. I knew it was
Sure.
Monday.
I'm available.
I can make that work.
Thank
Right.
you. That's exactly, yeah, I think this is great. And there's a lot of other things too that we have to look at this year. And I would love, if anybody would like for me to take you up to the ridge and show you what's happening up there, I would be happy to tour you around and just kind of show you so you kind of grasp everything that's happening. Because there's a lot, and I know Paula knows some of it too, but there's a lot that's happening with our community. So, and I would love, love, love to be able to share that.
I'll be calling you.
Yes, for sure. Anybody else? Nothing else? Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kelly. Any other public comment?
Thank you, Kelly.
All right, then moving on, we have the minutes attached to our packet here. Could I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting?
Motion to approve the minutes
Right.
from our previous meeting.
And do I have a second to approve the meeting minutes?
Second.
Thank you, Joelle. All right, moving on to council member liaison report. Oh, Mike?
Chair, there were no minutes on the agenda.
Approval of the minutes?
That's a normal thing, but for whatever reason, this
Oh.
meeting didn't have it. So
Okay, you're right. They are the July meeting minutes. So we will reverse that and we can approve the last meeting minutes at our next meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you for catching that.
There you go.
All right, council member liaison report.
Good morning. I'm Rob Watton on the Snoqualmie City Council. I've been your liaison this past year, and we're just going through reorganization, which happens every year. And so following the confirmation, I may or may not be your liaison. So we'll make sure that that happens, I believe, Monday night. Want to welcome Mayor James Mayhew. It's honor having him back, and the wealth of experience he has on the council now. He gets to carry that every day as mayor. So looking forward to that. Other than that, we're at that point of just determining our priorities for the coming year. And this is where the commission is going to be so critical in coming up with your top 10. I'm excited to see what those look like. The direction you give will help guide us. And a lot of the innovation that comes out of this committee then helps to inspire your council and the administration on what the priorities need to be. And I want to echo Kelly's comments on affordable housing. Area median income is so critical to having the right kind of housing. The challenge we have as a state and Puget Sound Regional Council have given us numbers that just are not fitting for workforce housing. That 0 to 30% falls into the very low income category, with the majority of the 719 units that we're being expected to build. We have to have builders that are willing to build it and financing programs available. And that's not the big challenge. The big challenge is this. Between North Bend and Snoqualmie, we have 10,000 people working in our workforce, working at the hospital, working on the ridge, working in our schools and the casino. Out of 10,000, 8,000 people commute in every day. And that's an economic hole because it's literally going up in just the ecosystem, that we're losing $500 a month of income to our economy because people are using it for gas and insurance to get to work. So by having affordable housing that fits our workforce, that's a critical need. And to go to Commissioner Skiba and his comment on King County and outside the city, there's about 100,000 homes. They're limited to 1% growth a year. So they can only do throughout the whole of King County, unincorporated King County, 1,000 new housing units a year. So trying to plug the hole is challenging. And the other one, going to Kelly's comments, and that is buildable lands. We need to take another look because it's been 35 years since Growth Management Act was passed by the legislature, in figuring out how do we make more land available so that we can build with being sensitive to the environment and making sure that we follow the spirit of the law. But those are challenges, and that's where the commission can help add their voice and make it more of a priority. So keep those things in mind. What we really want to land on is somewhere between 60 and 80% area median income. And another comment I know that Director Davis has made, and that is our area median income here in Snoqualmie is much higher than King County, but it's King County that dictates the AMI. So it makes it even more challenging trying to fill that niche. So congratulations being on the commission. Looking forward to great things coming from you this following year. Thank you much.
Thank you. All right, moving on to our community liaison report. Nicole.
Good morning, Nicole Wavy, Community Liaison. Don't really have anything too specific. It's been a busy new month, new mayor administration. So we're all just trying to get to know one another and figure out all the things that we're going to do together for the city. So I'm plugging along behind the scenes, but nothing really to speak of at this time. So we'll just end it there. Any questions?
No, thank you. We're looking forward to all the events that you do this year. So
Yeah,
Nicole,
working on that. I'm planning. Yes, Gary.
figured.
Sure, because I know it's the beginning of the year. Do you have a game plan outlined yet for the next year or for the next 6 months or anything, or?
Yes, I do. I will be moving ahead with things that I typically do, kind of status quo. Probably status quo sounds negative. I don't mean that to be positive. We do lovely events for the community that have become traditions, and we will continue those.
Mhm.
In addition, might even add some. So those are some of the things that I'm working on. And I usually produce this month, early February, like a save the date for the events to come. And so that is a work in progress. We've got two things that are happening this year. We've got World Cup, which we've identified ourselves as basically not overflow. We expect a lot of visitors. The World Cup organization and the Seattle Chamber of Commerce, they've identified that we are going to have a lot of people come here because of what we have here in our valley. So we just want to become a welcoming community to the people that will come here. So I'm working with Arts Commission to do some things. I'm working with Parks and Public Works to do some things. I'm doing some things so that we can have some infrastructure and some things in place. So when the influx of visitors come, they have a good experience here. So that's happening. Also, it's the 250th year for our country. So Kelly and the Chamber and I and some partners are working on something to kind of commemorate that. So those are some of the different things that are on the schedule for 2026.
The reason I'm asking, 'cause
Yeah.
that's all great, and I think the stuff you've been doing, you've heard me say both privately and publicly are awesome, in my opinion. Are we building in space? Maybe it's not directly on your heavy, big shoulders of what you lift with the North Bend work that we're trying to kind of do?
Yes. While I haven't had an update in the last couple of weeks, Mona and I work real close with James Henderson in North Bend, and we will be working forward with them on the creative economy. That might be what you've talked about.
Yeah.
Yes. And so late fall, late end of the 2025, North Bend is kind of spearheading that on behalf of Mona and I and trying to find a consultant to do that. So we do have that on our plate. Haven't heard anything yet this year, but we'll be doing that. And both cities, the funding that we're contributing to the cost of that is through the Port of Seattle grant. And so we're working to do that work in 2026.
Great, thank you.
Robert?
Joelle?
Oh,
Sorry.
Joelle online?
Yes, I have a question. Okay, so there was some discussion about trying to form a joint meeting between the city, the chamber, and Downtown Merchants Association to see how best to support the downtown merchants for the year for different things. Has there been a date set for that?
Kelly has been working on that to set a date. That will be some great work that will be done, and we hope to have that end of this month, early part of February. Yeah, and then
Okay, I would like to.
Go ahead, Joelle.
Oh, go ahead. I'd like to suggest that maybe we invite EDC commissioners to come if they're interested too, because that might be helpful. Another perspective of, needs of business in the downtown area. So if that's a possibility.
Yeah, I see no problem with that.
Can I ask, I might not have heard that. What meeting is Joelle referring?
So Kelly from the chamber has been talking with some of the business owners in the downtown, and we want to just kind of bring them together and just do kind of I want to say like a brainstorming situation, easels and Post-it notes, like what do they want to see? What are some things that they want to do and would do in 2026 and maybe looking ahead. So that's what that.
So learning for me.
Yep.
This is unrelated to, I don't even know what it's called, the Downtown Merchants Association Historical Railroad Society Group or whatever.
It is related to them. So it's the Historical Downtown Merchants Association. Okay. So it's with them meeting to identify some things that they want to do downtown. Oftentimes groups, organizations get together and say, is what we're doing works? What do we need to do? What can we do more? So that's what that will be. Sure.
I'm not trying to drill down into detail, but I'm always a little confused. This Downtown Merchant is a 501c organization.
That's
from
correct.
What I recall. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So
Correct. Yes.
It's a separate entity.
Correct.
Its own little world order. I've always wondered, and Nicole, you've heard this from me in other meetings, I think too, is that why wouldn't, if the city is helping, working, whatever, which they should, this is not a challenge to the approach by any stretch. Why isn't the Redmond Ridge business community included in that or asked to audit?
You mean Snoqualmie Ridge? Yeah. That 501c3 was created with boundaries that have to do with the historic downtown. So that there's boundaries to that. There have been some unofficial conversations of could we merge the two or maybe have one all-inclusive Snoqualmie Association. And I would like to have those conversations in 2026. But we are dealing with the fact that the historic downtown literally has boundaries based on, like, if somebody further down on 202 wanted to join, they couldn't because they're not in what's designated in the historic downtown. So
That's mandated by the charter of the 501c3.
that is correct.
right?
That is correct.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's great. I mean, I do understand the mechanics of
Yeah.
the thing. Okay, I mean, I do understand that element. I guess I just want to, because I haven't done this in the broader audience like this, I just would like to let it be known that one of the concerns, obviously, our company is up on the ridge, and I do hear quite a bit about what I'm about to say from a lot of people. The disconnect, and I don't think this is a new point to most people.
Correct.
I think whatever we can do, and when I say we, whether it's the commission or the city, to help bring and bridge that disconnect, I think is a good thing for everybody. I do, just to go on the record, because I don't know all the details of the historical boundaries I always hear about. It just seems to me, I've been a part of historical society groups, 501c3s in other cities. Obviously, you can't come in here and put a 5-story building in place of some of the downtown historic buildings. I get that. But I don't know what those boundaries are that would preclude cooperation, integration of ideas and different things. That's the part I probably don't understand.
Yeah.
And that's what I would like to foster, unless there's some kind of barrier there.
No, I think that a lot of people do want to foster that, both downtown, on the ridge, and here. Some of the language that we're using is, we have the downtown district and the ridge district, and you have heard me say, Gary, a lot, like, we're one city but 2 districts, and there's times where each district will do their own thing, and then there's times where we foster and collaborate and do things, and all of those things make sense for a variety of reasons. And I, as long as I've worked here, have wished that we could bridge that gap between downtown and the ridge more. And so this could be one of the things that would help that.
Awesome.
But I also would want to measure everyone's expectations, that there still is going to be times where things are kind of ridge centric or downtown centric, but how can we create opportunities where there's more of that collaboration?
Yeah, I think all of that. Totally agree.
Yeah. It's on my list.
Okay. I knew that, and I think this
Yeah.
is more for the broader audience, just to haven't really had a chance to vocalize that in a more broader way, but
I think we're stronger together, and so I think that's why we need to try to bring these 2 groups together more if we can.
and I believe everybody that I'm referring to that's instrumental in this concept recognizes the ecosystem is hip bones connected to the knee bone. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of connectivity here. It's not just one or the other kind of thing. It's not a binary economic environment. So, but that's cool. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mona, did you have a comment?
I did. I just want to say I appreciate your sentiment, Commissioner Skiba. I think, and it's great that you're back, Kelly, because this has kind of been an ongoing thing that we've discussed late last year, where we wanted to send out a survey to all of our businesses in the entire city and find out where their employees are traveling from and where they live currently, and, just try to get a feel of that. I thought it would be great then to try to bring all of our business owners in the whole city into like a special work group session or an evening open house kind of a meeting to kind of go through those survey results, and that's going to get us into the workforce housing. And I would like to partner with Kelly on that to kind of help get that implemented. So
I think that's good.
I feel like that is a work in progress, and that hasn't really fallen off our radar, but that was something that we wanted to start thinking about as the new year approached. And so
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We actually didn't touch on Small Business Saturday, I don't think, Nicole.
Well, that was in November. Did we just want to take a look back?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. How did that go?
Kelly, would you like to speak to that? Okay.
So Small Business Saturday, it is a national campaign through American Express. So I don't know if anybody doesn't know that. And our second year, we have done an ornament scavenger hunt, as you can say. And this year, it actually did doubled what we did in the previous year. We decided to do it that way because we just wanted people to come downtown. We wanted people to come to the Ridge. We wanted everybody to just really work and see the area. And it worked. We had over 2,800 people that found or signed up. So not all, we only had 1,200 ornaments, but we had a lot of people that came in and applied. So we know it worked. What we try to do is make sure that our businesses also give and do their own thing if they want to do it. People are going to come no matter what because it is a national campaign. So we do that. We try to come up with something different. And this is the second year we worked with the Mount Si High School students. They designed the ornaments, they made the ornaments, and then we took them to all the different locations. And we didn't have a lot of money this year because of the different funding mechanisms for LTAC. So we did bare bones on it, but we got so much more attention on it. So we learned a lot on it this year as well. And we'll do more next year. We'll do, we would like to do more events on that and it is amazing the amount of people that come down, and it kind of sets the tone for the whole entire the rest of the Christmas season. And so I think with everybody's help and being able to be communicating, we'll be able to make it even better next year.
Kelly, can I just add, this was the second year, I think you said that. And I think the first year people were kind of like, what is this? It was like a little sleeper hit. And then this year it really expanded and became quite a thing. And there was also a bigger emphasis on ornaments up on businesses in the Ridge District. So it was definitely a more all city inclusive event.
That's fun. Thank you. Looking forward to it next year too. That's awesome. All right, then we will move into new business. We have a presentation from the Snow Valley Chamber of Commerce on sustainable funding for tourism.
Are you running off of, this isn't what's on the agenda.
Okay, Mona, I may have the wrong agenda in front of me.
I think you might. It just occurred to me with so the
It's
next.
just why she asked for Small Business Saturday.
I'm really embarrassed. I
You
printed this
liked
morning.
November of
Yeah.
2025.
Yes, this is
So let me help.
thank you. You know what? I'll refer to the screen. And Mayor Mayhew, we would like to welcome you as our first topic under new business today. I've had my coffee, so that is no
Okay,
excuse
you're
for
doing
today,
a
but I will
great
use
job
it.
as a last second helper.
I could use some more.
I was busy thinking about how I need to go get a cup of coffee because I'm not up to speed with what's going on.
No, what a
So, yeah.
humbling meeting this is, chairing a surprise meeting with the wrong agenda. So thank you all for my nice January prank.
Oh,
Yeah, Happy New Year.
gosh. Well, thank you all. Great to see you. New Year. We have a little bit of a challenge. So we didn't have a transition to speak of in at the mayor's office in Snoqualmie. So beginning of January is very, very busy. We're trying to catch up on literally everything at the city. And the cycle for getting commissioners reappointed is that we do that at council meetings. And usually before I appoint a commissioner, I want to meet with them and talk with them and make sure they're interested in continuing and get their thoughts on what we can do to better support the commission. So the first meeting of the year came very quickly. And the first week, which is when I would have tried to have those conversations, we had lots going on. So that just didn't happen. So we're going to get commissioners for EDC appointed at the next council meeting, and you'll be back up to strength. So
That'd be great.
that's sort of timing on that. I think to sort of some of your conversation you just had, the way we do economic development, the things we focus on, the ways we kind of go about doing it. What happens is you get into, you go through a process of deciding what that's going to be, and then you try and execute on that for a few years. Well, now's a good time for us to rethink, and I think some of your conversation is fantastic. It's I've had many conversations gosh, at least half a dozen conversations with the mayor of North Bend, Mary Miller, just over the last 6 to 8 weeks on this topic. And kind of her and my shared view, I suppose I won't speak for her, but certainly my view that the economic development for Snoqualmie has become much more an economic development of the Upper Valley. So when we think about people coming to the Upper Valley, they may go to somewhere in Snoqualmie, and then they may go to somewhere in North Bend. And if we can package up the attraction that we're sort of trying to create so that we make them know those things are here, as you all know, the longer they stay, the more they spend, which is fantastic for our local economy. And so we have together a much more compelling set of things to go see and do than just us at Snoqualmie alone. It's interesting, if you go back over the last 100 years, in a lot of things, Snoqualmie and North Bend have competed. And that's been, in many ways, very healthy. And some of that, you know, as we continue to do that, will also be healthy. But I think it's I think the world is evolving. The way people find out about things that they might like to do has changed dramatically. Can we do something about I think we got eyes on, or the sun on someone's eyes here. Well, I don't know where it's coming from. Is it over there?
I'm doing the best I can to adjust, but it's getting a little harder.
Yeah, I was impressed because I can see the whole shadow and, oh, he's moving really well with the shadow. Whoops, now it
But
got him.
not really.
I thi-
That's.
Oh,
you know,
is that
I
right?
can move. I can
Broken.
move. Oh. In fact, actually, this might help.
Yeah, do you want to take your
All right.
name tag?
Okay, we're good. Thank you though for that.
No problem. So I think, you know, sort of rethinking and some of the questions you were talking about, how do we organize? What organizations do we have? Which ones are looking like at just a part of Snoqualmie? Which ones are looking at all of Snoqualmie? Is that, you know, should we relook at how we're organizing? What's kind of are there adjustments we can make that'll make us more successful going forward? I think those are fantastic questions. They're certainly the questions that are on my mind. And not just that I'm talking about here within the city, but also, as I mentioned, with North Bend, and also already with King County, with King County Council member for our district, which is Sarah Perry. So District 3, I think rethinking all of this is really healthy and will kind of help us readjust and really focus on the right things. So I'm really excited by your conversation. I think you guys are off to a great start. So we'll get you back up to full strength by your next meeting. I think, I know you're going to talk today about working together with North Bend's Economic Development Commission, and I think that is fantastic, exciting. I think this is a big part of how we're all going to succeed more going forward economically here in the Upper Valley and specifically here in Snoqualmie. So really encouraged by that. We're kind of looking as you do when you get a new mayor, you kind of relook at how you're doing things, you know, how you've deployed resources, where you've got people assigned. So kind of going through that process internally. And I think by the next time you meet, we'll kind of be able to tell you a little bit about how the internal workings, how we're thinking about changing that and how that might kind of impact what you guys are doing. So let's see. Well, I had another note. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to answer, but I also willing to take any questions you have from your perspective. Happy to take any questions.
Joelle, did you have a question? I heard a sound come from online.
I had a question previously, and now I lost it. It was something for Kelly, and I lost it. But welcome, Mayor Mayhew, and I'm excited this year because I think that is a good idea to kind of, you know, rethink, and hopefully we as a commission can get some work done this year. I feel like last year it kind of, you know, drug along and we did the roundtables and whatnot, but I'm hoping we can do more doing this year and getting things more accomplished. So I'm excited, and I think it's going to be a good year.
Yeah, thank you for those comments. I completely agree with that, and I kind of watched your previous meetings late last year, and I think you actually had internally at the EDC some comments or discussion on that very point of, hey, how do we get things done? And
Yes.
so I think I very much share that point of view. I'll echo what Councilmember Watton said, which is your input is tremendously important to the city. And the thing to remember is we're a small city.
Yeah.
As the way cities go, we're actually a medium-sized city, but we're a small city. And we don't have, the council has no staff. They rely completely on the administration. And all of our staff, as I think you all know, are pretty thinly spread. So getting out and kind of taking the pulse of the business community, finding out what's working, what's not working. It's hard for our staff to get the time to do that. Now, that's one of the things I'm looking at is how can we do better at that? But you guys are our link to kind of the economic development part of our whole community. Your input, what you see, you have to realize we very likely don't see, certainly not as well as you do. And so when you discuss that, when you bring things to us, the city, that we should be focused on, that's tremendously valuable. We probably, you should assume we probably don't know. And that, whatever it is you're bringing. And so don't hold yourself back. Well, they probably know. Actually, we probably don't know, or we certainly don't know the way that you do. So if you could just focus on, and we'll try to help support this, but focus on things that can lead to accomplishments, right? Because it's easy to discuss things and discuss and discuss, and then you look back and think, well, we spent a lot of time, but what did we accomplish? So I think if we can kind of focus in on what can be accomplished, that'll help guide our conversations. And I think all of you will be much more effective at outcomes and causing the whole city to achieve outcomes than if we kind of hope that the city kind of gets or hears what you're saying, if we can kind of focus. So I encourage you to do that, and we will absolutely try to support you on that. But getting accomplishments in the economic development area is, I think, is a fantastic goal.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Jim, I'm going to start calling you mayor. I don't know why I just always want to refer to you as Jim. I'm sure you're okay with that, but I think mayor is where I should go with that.
If I could just say, I watched an interview with the new governor of Virginia last night, and it's Abigail Spanberger, and she, in the interview, said that it turns out there's 2 states in the United States that refer to their governors as Your Excellency. And so I was.
Are you making a request?
I was watching this with my wife, and of course, I immediately turned to her and said, she offered a different title for me. Yeah.
That's good.
What was it, Your
So
Excellency?
feel free to use Your Excellency, although we're not one of those states.
I will.
We're not one of those states.
And I really need something. I just, it's really kind of not so much a question as a kind of a comment, and supportive of what you just said. It's you've said it maybe a little bit more succinctly in some of the comments I've had, but getting things done, I think most of us on the commission are probably very oriented that way. Now, having said that, it's really easy for me to come up with 5 things that I know full well 2 of them could probably never get achieved, but I think they're great ideas, right? That's my biggest concern from the few meetings I've been able to attend, because as most probably know, I was appointed in the summer, or August, I think, August or September. Some of the mechanics here are foreign to me. I'm not a government person. I'm very much an entrepreneur, et cetera. Probably why I'm here. But I do get concerned when I hear about these big kahuna issues, and the Growth Act, I think, is a kahuna issue. It's big, and I don't know in a 1-year period of time that we could contribute from a get it done category as effectively as probably those of you who are super familiar with it. But what I love about Kelly's comments about, well, there's probably some touch points, and we're happy to learn those, and at least I am. And good to know. And I think that's where the city can help us, or at least me, I'll speak for myself, that if there's touch points that the commission can comment on, provide input on, we need to be made aware of that, I think. I can't sit here and honestly say, oh, as it relates to affordable housing, I know we can contribute these things. I don't know what we can really contribute there. When it's guided by so many algorithms that are in stone because they've been law or passed as law, there's certain things you got to do and you have to achieve, and I get that. We could resist it, we could comment on it, we could say it should be bigger or better, but at the end of the day, it's going to kind of end up being like this, right? And to the extent I know that, I don't, but I realize that those are the factors. But so that to the extent the city and your guidance can say, hey, look, these are the spaces we should kind of put the bookends around and stay in that space. It would be helpful to hear that from the city. Because I have heard it maybe more privately about, great idea, Gary, but boy, it's just not going to it's not going to go there because one, it's a resource issue, two, it's, that type of thing. So I look forward to that. I really do.
That's fantastic. And we will absolutely try to help in that regard. I think if perhaps you sort of think about the idea that as an EDC, you're unlikely to have the time or resources to be able to tell us solutions.
Yeah.
What you're extremely well positioned to do is tell us what the issues are that need solutions.
Right.
So, for example, if we talk about just for a moment, and not to get into this, we'll get into this in a future meeting, but if we think about what's going on in development, the UGA, you might say, well, look, here's a thing. I have a problem getting employees locally because they can't afford to live here. Well, that voice, if that's a voice that comes from the EDC, is a very powerful voice.
Gotcha.
There are voices out there in the community, not just Snoqualmie, but in the county, in the state, that are focused primarily on low-income housing, and they just know we need it. And I don't think that's disputed. The question for us in Snoqualmie becomes, well, what can we realistically do here? And, what are our specific needs here within the framework of those bigger needs? So you can be a voice that kind of speaks for what's needed here in that whole discussion, which is maybe focused on a larger area. So there's that. And then what if I told you that some people think that some of the UGA should be incorporated with the idea of being places that we put either retail or commercial?
Mm-hmm.
You might get really interested. Is that good? Do we need more? Do we not need more? Do we need more of certain things? So when you kind of say, here's where we see the need, don't try to solve it, but when you become the voice of what the need is, that can be very impactful.
It's good. Good to know.
And then we did have Joelle had a hand raised a bit ago. Joelle, did you have something that you still wanted?
Yes, I did. Okay. So that's why I was suggesting earlier when there's a potential meeting for the city chamber downtown merchant, that the EDC maybe gets notice of all these different meetings and such on the Ridge, downtown, wherever, so that we have the opportunity to attend. Because the more things that we, us as individual commissioners can attend, I think the more we learn and we can bring back. So, for instance, last year, there wasn't, again, a lot of work that got accomplished, I don't feel, but I tried individually to, attend as many meetings as I could, go to as many ribbon cuttings, in the city as I could, and just to be there and listen and hear things. I think that's valuable to be able to bring back to our meetings, because we don't have a lot of time. So in February, we're having a joint meeting, and then March, we may be talking about this urban growth management presentation, and then we only have 8 more months left. So that's where I get kind of antsy, because I would like this to be a year that we get something done. Hopefully more than one thing.
Yeah, I love that, Joelle, and I agree. I think that so much can be learned just through building relationships with other business owners, and that's how we're going to hear about the different things that are impacting them. And so being able to get out and about more at those kinds of meetings and listen and learn would be really helpful. Yeah. All right. Then our next item of new business, since I'm referring to the correct agenda, is a presentation by Dylan Gamble, Parks and Public Works, on the River Trail project. Thanks so much for being here today.
This microphone, you can hear it. Let me grab my Zoom. I'm gonna show some maps because I will never miss an opportunity to show a good map.
We appreciate that about you, Dylan.
Yes, I know. That's one of my favorites. Okay, and especially if the maps are really small and hard to see, that's somehow a real win. But okay, so my name is Dylan Gamble. I work at the Parks Public Works Department, and I kind of oversee all things Snoqualmie River Trail, and that includes multiple projects, and we'll kind of get into that in a bit. Been working on this for many years. I've lived and breathed the River Trail, River Walk. We'll get into that part a little bit later too. And so I'm going to give you a quick presentation on the current project that we have going on at this time, and I'll kind of give you a quick oversight of the concept as a whole, and then I'll take questions and we can kind of move on from there.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, so first, I just wanted to bring your attention to the city webpage on this because I post updates. So first and foremost, you'll get a kind of general sense of what's going on, what is the river trail, where is it located. I put some timeline details in there for you to see kind of what's going on that I have a good time horizon on and where we've come from. And then I'm also posting monthly updates on the progress of the current project. So you can see that here. The most recent updates took place at the end of December. So this is an end of December picture and a little bit of updating. So you can see if you've driven down Highway 202, you've probably seen this project. I'll show you a map in a second, but I think it's important to know kind of where the city uses a lot of its information to go on the webpage here. And then it dives into, a lot of the background information that the River Trail or the River Walk project has as a whole. The River Trail, River Walk concept is really, we pivoted towards the terminology of River Trail to be more encompassing of kind of a different goal and outcome of like how we're constructing and building the project, but you could think of them as pretty synonymous terms, with some kind of a lot of background of how we are repositioning our approach. That's kind of a lot of saying nothing, I understand, but what I mean to shorten it up is that we have an approach, we're calling it River Trail. That's how we're achieving the work that the River Walk Master Plan kind of called out. Speaking of the River Walk Master Plan, that is the guiding principle, the guiding document for all the projects that take place on the River Trail plan. So if you were to click on it, this is quite a large document. So just a warning there. It's right here, and I pulled it up for us here. It actually has lots of pages, tons of information. And just as a reminder of what a master plan is, it's really a very high level planning document. And it's really seeking to get a understanding what the community desires from whatever the topic happens to be. In this case, River Walk, River Plan, River Trail, however you want to call it. This is all the goals, dreams, desires. This is everything you could have if you could have it. What would be in there? And so you'll get a lot of things that are very exciting in here, and some of them are maybe untenable. There's ideas in here that no engineer ever saw and never considered and could tell you whether it was possible, but they're here because this is where the dreams go. And we have that, for example, in our comprehensive plan. There's ideas in there that might not be physically buildable, but they're the goals of the community. So that's where you'll see a lot of these details. And as sitting on the board and commissions that you do and being involved in the public, you'll hear people who are interested in this project and who have looked at this document. It's good to remind, or at least I would like to remind you, that planning level document, these are not bridge designs. So I get that a lot. I get a lot of questions like, when am I getting my 3 pedestrian bridges across the river? That kind of thing. So that's the planning document. And you can see here, there's lots of bridges and there's lots of trails, and there's, trails on Weyerhaeuser land that we don't own. And there's connections to things that we might not be able to, or might choose to not even build and construct the way they are, but they're shown here. Just always remember planning level document. But getting to the focus of the meeting today, which is the trail projects that we kind of have funding for, have worked on, designed and engineered, and are starting to construct. I highlighted 3 here, and that's because they're all 3 in the CIP for the next few years. Red here is the River Trail project we're going to talk about. Sandy Cove, which I'm sure everyone's familiar with, had a temporary stabilization project a few years ago, and we'll have another here soon. And then purple is an up-and-coming River Trail project called the Arboretum section.
What was the orange?
Orange is Sandy Cove. Sandy Cove Bank Stabilization.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, there's more to it than just stabilizing the bank, of course. Just get a drive a bunch of excavators over the entire park and not have to fix it to some extent. But that's essentially the area of impact, you could say, for the Sandy Cove project. So zooming in here, we're kind of looking at the river trail project that's going on right now. I'm going to show you a different map, which is going to slightly spin us. So try to keep perspective, but for all of you, I'm pretty sure you know kind of where we are and where we stand and what the areas are. But just know that we're going to kind of move around between these two documents. Here is a kind of conceptual. It's not as whiz-bang exciting as, oh, you're not seeing anything. I was wondering where all the cheers were. I didn't. Okay. See, now you can cheer. So great. Yes, yeah. Not as exciting. We'll get to some more cool pictures here in a second, but this is the overview, the top-down layout of the project. So on the very right would be homes that are still physically there. So when you are driving down the road, the last home before it kind of turns into open space and where the construction side is right really close to where the cursor is on the right side there near that slough. A little hard to see, but you see a little hoop that kind of jumps up? Yep, it's right there. So that's kind of the one side of the area of impact, and then we go all the way down to Kimball Creek on the far side. The trail kind of loops in there. This is just a rough showing of where the trail is approximately located. I can tell you it's not this exact layout because there were trees in the way of that trail, so it had to get moved slightly. But there's a couple features in here you'll see. There is this guy, which is essentially kind of like, oh, you're not tracking with my mouse. It's so delayed. So while we have this, so this guy here, this is essentially a landing pad where multiple trails are connecting together, a crossroads, so to speak. From here, you have a hard packed gravel trail that connects, a loop that connects over here, a hard packed gravel trail that goes here. This is soft surface trail, so think gravel and then bark that goes on top of it. It'll slip pack down over the course of years. In fact, we have several versions of this type of trail throughout the city. And then we have two bridges that span two wetlands on either side. They get you to the process. And then this black piece here connects to what will be a future expansion of what's called Town Center Phase 3, which is already the Centennial Trail. Right now, this connection will get you to Centennial Trail. It's just not as elegant as it will be one day. The kind of what's going on here, what's causing a lot of the design interactions is this historic rail grid. So there used to be a rail line that crossed. In fact, right now on a day, sorry, start over. Joelle, that's loud. Joelle, I hope you could hear everything I just said and didn't feel left out at all. But I have a microphone now, so you should be good.
Oh, I hear.
Great, perfect.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna keep going. So this historic rail grade, right now, like I said, it's winter. So there's no leaves on any of the alders. You could see probably straight across the river in this area. You could see where the rail used to connect on the other side of the river. It's not there anymore, but the grade still is. So this is like an elevated platform of riprap, essentially, like rocks. And so we're utilizing that, but essentially this wetland was probably created by them digging out the two sides and building up the center. So that is the trail as it's conceptually designed. And we began construction in November, as you probably saw.
Mm-hmm.
Double mic in it.
Is the parkway off this map? It's not on, is it? The parkway?
It's not on, no.
Okay. I think I have a sense of the scale.
Let me show you here. So this, man, I'm not getting the Zoom shares. Here is another map. So we're back to the first one. Here's the intersection with the parkway.
Yep.
And then here's Kimball Creek. You can kind of see it wraps around the city.
Okay.
But the project does not extend past Kimball Creek. There's no bridge over Kimball Creek.
Gotcha.
It gets, nearby, but not over. So that's kind of the other side of that perimeter. And the trail does a loop back in that area here. Okay, so we started in November. We basically were breaking ground, kind of preparing for some of the longer time horizon things such as bridges, which take quite a while, and there's a lot of inspections that go with them, and making sure the ground is good. So we've been doing that kind of work. They've been clearing the trail area, and they have mostly constructed the soft surface trail that I kind of pointed out on the left side for everyone who's sitting in this room, but the left side of the screen share too. And now you're probably wondering what happened during the flood, which is exciting. So, if you happen to be driving around downtown and you're wondering what the impacts to the project were from this thing right here, the flood, just first, the orange is silt fencing. This is how we protect mud from escaping the site when it's raining really hard because we've just exposed a bunch of dirt. We don't want it to run off into the river. So this is our way of protecting that mud from ending up in the river. It's humorous now, but it works very well actually in normal conditions. This is not a normal condition, but that's what that is. And you're more or less seeing the area of impact of the trail. So the trail is going to be pretty close to the road here, just by nature of its proximity to the river. Just cycle the photo. Here's another example. This is me taking a photo of, there's actually a hole in the ground where you see a bunch of water on the left. You see the big pile of dirt on the right. That dirt came from somewhere. It's the hole in the ground. That's the bridge. So this is kind of indicating the impact. The takeaway of all this is that this did not damage the project really, not too much. We definitely had some impacts. Obviously, we had water damage to some things. The company's been out there repairing all the silt fencing that was damaged and ended up in all sorts of different places. We inherited some logs that floated from somebody else's project upstream and ended up at ours. So we're collecting now. So we're taking care of things like that. The trail wasn't really damaged. You'd think all the bark might have gotten disturbed more, but it's in the woodland, so it actually is pretty well protected. There's not a lot of moving currents, so we just had to do some tidying and then repair the bridge foundations, which is actually going pretty well. It's going on right now. So today they're working on more of this while the weather is good. Generally speaking, we will cut them off from running any sort of excavators or equipment if it's pouring down rain. If it starts to rain really hard, we will cause more damage than we will work. And we can actually kill trees by overcompacting soils, some other things. We are trying to preserve what are really great trees out here. So that's a lot of the focus for us. And that's kind of what we're keeping an eye on right now as the project's going on in the winter. I expect us to have made pretty gosh darn good progress by the time we get to summer. It should look like a trail from a lot of perspectives. There will be work that I and the company still need to do in order for us to open it. So you might see a trail, but we might not open it until it's safe to do so, or we feel like all the elements that can be not damaged by people using the trail or accessing the trail can be protected. So that should happen pretty quick. And then we'll be working on a lot of the plantings and the kind of habitat mitigation work that always comes with the project this close to a river. Yeah, so that's this project in a nutshell. I'm happy to go into any questions you have, but also know that I'm going to be posting an update on the website periodically with pictures because I think they're fun. And so, yeah, I'll leave it there and take any questions if you have them.
Sure, your project team's enjoying the sunshine this week.
It's great. Yes. I mean, though they work in the rain, of course, but I don't want them to have to work in the rain because then when I'm out there, I'm in the rain. It's a muddy site already as it is, and so keeping the rain out is just.
Do you have a target opening date?
I don't, because I can already sense Nicole glaring at me trying to schedule a ribbon cutting or an opening day, and I'm not giving her a date right now.
Optimistically, though, is it this summer or you're not sure?
It will be this summer.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if nothing happens in the meantime.
Sure.
Yeah.
So my other question is, I know this is so easy to pick apart something that's under progress, right? And it's not a criticism, but it is a question.
Yeah.
Access to that area.
Yeah.
From the ridge.
From the ridge, yes.
So we all know there's a trail that goes down, the parkway.
Yep.
How does that happen?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, okay, good, we're here. So right now, if you were to ride your bike or whatever mode of transportation you pick, you've got the asphalt trails that kind of run down the sides of the parkway. They meet here at this intersection. Let me zoom in for you and slow down. Stop talking so fast. So here's trail number 1. There's not a trail on this side right now towards Gateway Park, but there's on the far side. If you were to take this down, you could either turn left and go over towards the falls. You could turn right. You'll be on Centennial Trail. And Centennial Trail is this guy right here. Yep. And so that trail exists right now. And as you take it down, you'll get to that rail grade I was talking about. And you can really see it on this map.
Oh.
So you cross the bridge, which is currently that kind of creosote smelling pedestrian bridge over the Kimmel Creek. And then it kind of rises up. The trail rises up, makes a sharp right turn and a sharp left turn. You can see that right where my mouse cursor is. That's the trail getting up onto the rail grade that we were looking at before. So this is elevated here, and then that elevation maintains across. That's where that crossroads, larger circled area would be. And so when I mentioned that you would go from the crossroads, it comes sweeps down, and then there will be kind of like a temporary crossing here. That's how you'd connect. You can do it here, or you can connect further down at another intersection. Yep. Way to connect here as well.
So will that be kind of lit up so it's a little bright and people aren't getting killed at night kind of thing?
It won't be yet, but it will eventually with phase 3 of Town Center, depending on the timing of that project.
I'm just, I personally would probably go down there, park and get on the trail myself, but
yeah,
we have, as you know, I mean, this is not new. You got a lot of kids on bikes. You got all that going on. That's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be beautiful. It's an awesome project. I just worry about what's coming down that trail and wanting to get over there. And you got 202 traffic. Now, granted, there's good speed limits there and everything, but
yeah, there's kind of a, well, if I could just speak quickly about my kind of approach here, it's to find a lot of solutions to a problem and then either pick a first solution that I can get done quickly and is not perfect, but will kind of get us over some sort of intermediate time horizon.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm looking at right at this moment. I'm hoping it would be nice to just have the intersection with the crossings and a rapid flashing beacon like you see in downtown, a couple things like that. There's a lot of infrastructure that needs to go into place in order to make that happen. So that's the perfect version. I'm going to work on the in-between perfect version for now.
Got it.
What that's going to look like and what WashDOT lets me get away with is kind of two big targets. I don't know yet.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thankfully, it's opening during the longer summer nights. Paula?
Bikes could use it. Yes, for sure. There's a couple caveats here. One, the bridges are not rated for horses, so that's one thing. Vehicles are not allowed on them with the exception of a couple of vehicles that Public Works owns in order to maintain the facilities. So no vehicles out there, and bikes can use them. I doubt bikes would want to be on the bark section of the trail. Just being a bike guy myself, I don't think I'd want to ride on the bark section until it's pretty packed down. But the trail's about 6 to 7 feet wide, depending on some sections. And if it's packed gravel, it'll be very navigable.
What's the linear length of approximately?
I don't know exactly because I've had to make adjustments. So when I showed you that image before of the different soft surface, I've had to make adjustments to dodge trees in there that I had plans and they said go this way, and I'm like, there is a 50-foot tree, 50-foot,
sure, yeah,
a large tree, and so we had to dodge the tree maneuver. And so I really don't know. I've lost track of exactly where we are. We were a touch short of a mile in all trail surfaces before. I expect we're a bit more now because just a guesstimate.
Great.
Any other questions? Oh, Mary Hugh.
Yeah, if I could just comment. So when you think about this, the whole Riverwalk, by the way, on the whole Riverwalk project, a couple things that are very important to know about it. The first is this project's never been approved by the city council. It was a study that was done. We had a firm that's, and gosh, this is like at least a decade ago now, right? Or
2015?
Yeah, about a decade ago. And so they came and did a study for us of what can be done, what other communities do. And so this plan, so the city engaged this firm to give us this plan, but it's there as an idea. It's not something that we formally committed to yet, but sections we're doing. So that's one thing to know. Second thing is, therefore, we didn't go through a process of sort of finding out, hey, which parts of this community do you love and which parts of this do you not love? We didn't have a conversation with the Snoqualmie tribe about which parts of this do you love and hate. Although I will tell you, they have volunteered that they are not fans of the notion of bridges going across. So And there are some other features in that plan that they've said that we really don't like that idea. But that's sort of more hit and miss, some of the comments they provided. So this will come out as we proceed through this and go to each section saying, okay, let's do this. Then we'll go through that process of really making sure the community likes it and consultation with the tribe and so forth. So just want to make that comment. Then the other comment I wanted to make is there's really two things that are happening with this section and with the river trail generally. First is we're giving a feature to our residents. So we have this amazing riverfront was in the area that Mr. Gamble pointed out. To be honest, I don't think most residents on the ridge even know the river's there or how close it is because it's so vegetated. If you weren't here years ago when you could see, I mean, I remember being able to look at that railroad crossing and you could just look, you knew it was a railroad crossing. In fact, I think the rails were still in there. So they weren't being used, but they were, in any event, this kind of opens up access to our residents. But from an economic development perspective, this becomes a thing that's very interesting for visitors to come see. Take a walk along the river, maybe do, again, that package of things that you can do. It's just another thing that's fun to do in Snoqualmie and kind of feeds into a whole economic development idea. So there's kind of different features of this, but certainly economic development is one of the goals of what we're doing broadly with River Trail, River Walk, and specifically with this component of it that we're working on now.
It's a pearl. I mean, it's no question about it. Yeah. Good job.
Heritage trail. I'll just tip to you, a heritage trail that we created. And we got funding from Washington Tourism to create it. And I would love to be able to add it to that park to do that. We'll have it ready for all the World Cup visitors. We're about to release it. So if we could, Christy Lake is one that's doing it. So if you would possibly talk to her, because I think it'd be great to be able to add what used to be there and, you know, kind of tell people the story.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure she knows about the rail, but yeah, I can absolutely show her the proposed trail.
That'd be great, because I think it'd be just a better thing to for the World Cup visitors.
A little, and if it's weedy, don't go there because I'm not trying to bog it down on this, but I do have a question. North Bend, it's pretty hard not to see what they're doing with down the road trails and different things. Falls City is doing that, I don't know if it's a sidewalk or a trail, what that is going in by the school over there. Is any of that, is this all connected or is it just this happen to be going on at the same time? Is there like government funding that came in from the state to help kind of start building these things out, or is that no, it has nothing to do with any of that?
I'd say, okay, it's a quick answer to a really big story, actually. There's a few things. We have connections going on naturally from historic like rail beds that have been converted to trails.
Yep.
So pretty sure everyone's probably been on the SVTs, Snoqualmie Valley Trail. Mm-hmm. So North Bend, us, to some extent, you know, Fall City, we all kind of connect to this and think about how it connects to our cities, each independently. And, you know, our version of that is going to be different than North Bend's.
Got it.
And then we have our own trail systems that we're either improving or trying to expand. What we're talking about is an expansion of a trail system to incorporate River Trail. But we also look at how do we connect our historic downtown to the SVT. There's some gaps in the SVT, kind of around the Mill Pond here, near Mill Pond Road and the Rhinebeck Bridge that crosses it. We try to identify options and opportunities to get trail connections in there. We work collaboratively in the sense that we're all aware of a lot of each other's works.
Got it.
I sit on meetings where we all kind of broadcast our efforts and, you know, our wins and our losses and our, you know, goals and dreams. And we have a collaborative map that we kind of look at. And when an overlap exists, we definitely work on it together. We don't have as many, like I can't go like, hey, North Bend, do you want to work on this project right next to downtown Snoqualmie? It doesn't quite pair up, but when we can, we do.
Got it. That's really where I wanted to hear without pushing that question, but that's awesome. Because as we all know, I mean, we've all, anybody here any period of time has seen what's happened with Burt Gilman and all the other different trail systems. It's an incredible pearl to our community, to the county, to the state. And it's good that everybody's talking to each other to the extent that it adds value to, from a connectivity standpoint and what have you.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big mountain biking
Yeah.
trail guy myself, so I'm always on checking, to see where.
Well, and
What
not
options
that
are.
we're going to do it
Yeah.
here, but I think some of this is back to the mayor's comments about things that can be achieved. Fast forward, this is all connected. North Bend's connected. We're connected. You got all that, you can get to the Salish, you can get up and down to the ridge. All of a sudden you have a system there that has tremendous economic benefit in so many different kinds of ways. Anyway, I think I sense everybody's got that vision anyway, but it's good. It's all good.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I'm here. Any other questions?
Good work. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you all for letting me share and present.
Thank you.
And,
Excited to see it open.
yeah, absolutely.
It's cool.
All right. I don't see our agenda, and we know the one I have in front of me is not the right one, so I'm going to wait for that to come back up. Thank you so much. Future agenda topics. I do have an item to propose if the group would be interested in hearing more about it. We have a quite massive, oh, Robert?
I think we still have old business, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my goodness. Yes, we do. Okay. Old business. Prepare for upcoming joint meeting with North Bend on February 18th. Top 10 issues facing local businesses.
I can speak to that really
Rhoda,
quickly.
that'd be great. Thank you.
So our next meeting will be the joint meeting with North Bend in February. North Bend has offered to host that meeting.
Mhm.
So you all have a little extra long trek that morning to City Hall in North Bend from 8 to 10 a.m. on February 18th.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that works for everybody. I do want to acknowledge and thank Commissioners Webb and Shively for coming today. And I appreciate Mayor Mayhew saying that they will be appointed before that next meeting. So we'll get that all squared away. But thank you for coming and, being here today to hear today's agenda. So anyway, I appreciate you all bringing me your top 10. I was thinking last night, like, oh, maybe I should have compiled all of that and sent it to you. So I will do that. So you have a packet prepared
Oh, that'd be great.
for the meeting on February 18th.
Amazing.
Do we really have a top 10?
Everybody gave really good feedback.
Yeah.
I don't know that we actually compiled that into a top 10. Maybe that's an exercise we could do via email.
I feel like we were close when we kind of
were very
whiteboarded
close.
it. Yeah.
Yes, we were very close. So I will compile and, pull everybody's comments together and see if I can sort of sort through that, give you all the backup materials. If
Mhm.
anybody has any concerns, we can kind of navigate that before the meeting.
Okay.
So.
I think this is really important, this top 10. I don't know if everybody saw, I ended up giving a fairly long kind of one page, I don't even know how long it was. I just wrote down what I was thinking. And can I comment on this right now or, okay. I felt like when we had that meeting, and I'm sorry, was it November? It was November, I think, where we did that. Yeah.
That was was it November?
I think some of us were a little
September.
not ready to do the top 10. I will speak to me specifically that I don't know that I came into that meeting with, oh, these are the 3 or 4 things I want to make sure get out there. And that's probably a personal concern I have. I think the article or the memo that I wrote kind of outlined my concerns and brought up a couple of points. I felt in the November meeting, we were talking about top 10 issues for the city. To me, that's different than top 10 issues for a meeting and a joint approach with the city of North Bend. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it should be the top 10 for the city of Snoqualmie. And I just misunderstood what the objective was there. So I just throw that out. Seems to me the things you're going to do jointly are not going to be the same priorities that the city has for the city. Now, some of them, I mean, just to make it up, the trails could be a top 10 easily because they, for the comments that were just made, that the value that it brings to the community is a cool thing. So I guess I'm just I'm a little concerned. I don't feel I know what the top 10 are. let's start with that. And it just seems like, I don't know, maybe I'd like to help refine that a little bit if I can.
So the meeting that we had with North Bend was in September.
Right.
I think we agreed, both economic development committees agreed to go back and just kind of brainstorm amongst themselves to bring up what are the top 10 issues facing local businesses so that we could better partner and work together with City of North Bend and Snoqualmie, because, we all talked about we were stronger together
Right.
if we helped each other. But that was in my mind what the exercise was for. Certainly there's probably a different top 10 if we were just focusing on Snoqualmie.
Yeah.
But I think we're trying to focus on what could we do and partner together to increase economic development. What are the things that both cities together are trying to resolve?
Do we have even a rough idea of what those 10 are right now?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, Nicole.
I only ask because I don't know. I guess I'm literally going back to some concern I had in December that I didn't feel like we really got there. And maybe we did. Maybe I was sitting there thinking they're not my top 10, which is not fair, obviously, but I just don't, for some reason.
We went through that in the November meeting, and as I recall, I think maybe you missed that meeting.
Yeah, I got here, but I got here late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can have Robert share the screen of.
Oh, that'd
what
be
I'd
great.
Is that,
I
do you
have them
mind?
here,
I'm
but-
not trying to push this into. Oh,
We
okay.
we each at least listed our top 3, and we're hoping to narrow that down to 10. And then I think coming together with North Bend and seeing where there was overlap
Yeah.
of interest.
Yes, in November, we narrowed it down to workforce housing, removing barriers, tourism, labor costs, minimum wage, signage improvements,
Mhm.
business park, how to attract and retain businesses in the business park. There we
It's up
go.
now, Mo.
Utility costs,
Perfect.
beautification,
Mhm.
Riverwalk project, transportation, economic development, and we talked about a welcome packet, which
Mhm.
I'm trying to work on that.
Yeah.
And then the safety and maintaining the police department, which is more than 10, clearly.
Yeah.
And then I also received some follow-up input from Commissioner Gibson, you, Commissioner Skiba, and also Chair Hudson since that meeting in November, which is why I think it might be a good thing to just try to compile those and make sure that we don't have any overlaps. And
Yeah.
maybe we come back with more than 10, or we collectively as a group try to narrow it down a little more before we go to North Bend.
Yeah. Is there any interest in, this could be repetitive and not useful, but is there any interest or need for us to rank these in order of importance to our group before meeting with them?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
that's a discussion we can have with North Bend. I know Joelle had her hand up a minute ago, so maybe she has some
Yeah.
comments to that.
Joelle, did you have a comment?
I did. So I agree. I think that we need to do some more kind of vetting this down before showing up to this meeting next month. So we look a little bit more prepared. I feel like at that meeting, North Bend came with, a lot of information, and we were more just listening rather than participating so much. I don't want to speak for the whole group, but I think that, and Mona, is all the feedback from the rest of the commissioners like uploaded onto this, or is there more? Because I think we need to kind of whittle it down a little bit more and be a little bit more decisive on our top 10 before attending this meeting, if we can do that via email.
Okay, yeah, no, thank you, Commissioner Gibson. There is more that came in, so I'll work with Nicole. We'll
Okay.
add those additional comments in, and then I'll email you all the list. And I think that's probably the best way to try to get feedback before our February meeting.
That works.
I think that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Just as a side comment, some of the stuff on that list, for example, to me seems very city of Snoqualmie specific. Removing barriers to working with the city are clearly a city issue.
Well, I think that was a way to help foster new businesses coming in and attracting and retaining new business.
Well, that's where I get hung up. That's a great point. I get that.
Mhm.
But isn't this about doing joint work with North Bend?
Well, these are just our priorities, and then we'll get with them to see where they overlap and how we can partner. Because when we met with North Bend, they were really interested in their creative districts. That was a huge priority for them, and that's not something that we may necessarily have identified as a big priority for us.
Okay.
So I think we just wanted to get sort of our priorities as a commission straight so that we could see where we want to spend our time. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah,
to
no,
everybody?
that makes sense. I guess maybe that's probably where I'm struggling on this a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I'll just say what I'm thinking because this to follow the mayor's lead that he says just get it out there
Always.
is I think about doing joint venture, I'll call it JV work with another city, another business, another person as what can we do together and bring synergy of what we want to achieve together. And we'll bring, let's just call it, sugar canes and lollipops to everybody, right? When I think like that, I guess this is very much Gary's direct thinking is that I think about big stuff. And by big stuff, I don't necessarily mean expensive. I just mean big things. I wish I had some really concrete examples for that people might have experienced here, as in King County. I can think of many, not here in this state, in fact, but you go to Colorado, you go to Denver, and you see the Boulder connection with Denver, and you see the things that they put on and that they do. And yes, some of it's festival oriented. Some of it is kind of thematic, where they're trying to either raise money for some, mountain thing that's going on or whatever. I could go on, but I sit there and I think about those kinds of things. And why do I think of those? I think of them because one, they enhance and typically, if they're done well, I guess, improve the personality and the culture of the community. They bring people to the community and they expose sort of some of the root values, if you will, of the community. I think like that.
So are you thinking that maybe this list is a EDC priority for our city, but we don't have a list of priorities on joint ventures? And we need a separate
Perhaps,
list?
because I think it seems to me, I mean, it would be great to have North Bend in here and obviously why we need the joint meeting, but I felt that's where they were coming from.
Yeah.
And part of that was the, almost artistic approach they had to them. This creative economy. I made the comment in the meeting that it's a very clever slogan. I mean, it really is. On the other hand, it's not very descriptive. I can think of a lot of creative things to do that might not fit what the goal is with that kind of thing. But it does set the stage, though, when you say something like a creative economy. And I think in my notes that I sent back to you, Mona, I think I said this because I know I was thinking it, that I think I asked the question earlier if we had an inventory of what I think of as assets. So like when I'm looking at a business and we're recently looking at an expansion into Japan and I look at what assets do I have, what do I don't have, and what do I need to achieve, right? I think about what does North Bend have, what does Snoqualmie have that we can jointly work with, use, resource, et cetera. How do we get there? And is everybody on board that this is a good idea, which is obviously very critical. I think I made a comment about I think it's a King County park where we had a bike guy in here a minute ago. I guess he's left, but the bicycle work that goes on in the fun and the activity I don't even know the name of this place on exit 27. I don't even know the name of it.
Point Park.
Thank you. I look at that and I go, that's a jewel for all the communities around here. And I don't know a lot about what I'm about to say, but at the brewery, we get these organizers that come in there and they have these 30, 40 person meetings in the back of our building about the next big event they're doing up there. And I'm like, well, I'm in there and I'm eavesdropping and I'm saying, well, how big is that? He goes, well, we're hoping to bring about 2,000 to 3,000 people over a period of 3 days. And it's I think a race or some kind of time trial or something. I don't know the intimate details, but these people are in Federal Way and Tacoma. And I'm like, well, where are the people from here that do this stuff? And I'm sure they are here. I don't know where they are, but I'm sure there are people that do things like that. So, and why I think the comment I did about, what about, I guess a long time ago, prior to me living in the Snoqualmie area, I probably lived in Redmond. There used to be a big bike event here.
There still is. There's a couple.
Is that who did that?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. And you know, maybe it faded away because the popularity of it faded. I don't know. But that's kind of where I am kind of coming from in my head. I think all of those things, by the way, on there are important. So I'm not taking away from them. But I wonder if we've got kind of the right content on there.
Yeah.
It's a question, and I'm not trying to be specifically, and I'm not trying to be specific on what should be on there, but I hope everybody's thought like that. And if they have, and that's where we are, that's where we are. So I will.
Kelly
yield
had a
to that.
comment too.
Yeah.
Kelly, can you come up to the microphone, please?
Yeah, one of the things, there are several things that are missing from here, and I will say that. And what you're talking about is Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance
Okay.
that we are working with, and we just created a huge biking magazine that is just really amazing. And we do work with all those. So Nicole works with Evergreen. They've done 3 really big events, and so we actually go and put up our big what are those called, sandwich boards
Mhm.
with QR codes and everything like that, and we see an amazing amount of people that come through the towns. But I would also like to say that there are quite a few things that are missing on this, and unfortunately I didn't get to tell you, we do surveys every year on what people are wanting to know, and I'm happy to actually do another survey and get that so we have a bit better opportunity. We're missing some things on here. One of it that was our biggest thing was our Wi-Fi and our internet, which has been a huge issue for downtown and on the ridge. And that's not listed on here. And then the other thing that is not listed on here are the cost of doing business in Washington State. We also have a lot of new laws that are coming on board, and it's what's about to kill some of our business owners. And I don't know if Adrian can say that. So composting has a new law where you have to have these new compost bags that are $1 a bag, and sometimes some of these people can they're like 30, they use 30 of them in a day. So one of the things that we have realized is that we can actually co-op and possibly work together with all of our businesses to purchase some of these really high-end things to be able to help. So those things are not on there either. The cost for these guys with restaurants has gone unbelievably sky high, and it keeps going. And I would like to make sure that we, as a city, do not cause any more harm onto the restaurants. I don't know if you can tell anybody about that or not, but Adrian, there's a lot of things that are coming that are going to be a big issue. And there's quite a few other things that are not on there that I think may have just kind of, I didn't unfortunately get to be there to have that voice. But like I said, I would love to be able to do another survey. My survey that we just did is 6 months old, and I feel like it's probably not it's outdated by now. So maybe we need to do another one, but I'm happy to show you the results on that.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Joelle has her hand up too.
Yep. Joelle?
Yeah, Kelly, I think that's good because if we could get that quickly to add to this. And this list that's up on the screen right now was from November. And then since then, we've all shared our additional priorities to, I think we sent them all to Mona by December 31st. So she was saying she's going to update that. Is that right, Mona? Like the updated list with all the extras? Because the cell phone and internet was one of my top priorities, and I did request that to be added to the list.
Yep, I've got it from you here, and I was going to mention that there are some other important issues that I feel like need to be added to this list.
Is there anything that anyone wants to share right now that we should add to the list?
I don't remember what I did. I mean, I know that the event concept was something that I felt we needed to somehow fold in here.
I feel like, Kelly, are you going to be able to make it to the joint meeting? Okay.
I'm back on here.
Okay. That'd be great because I feel like you'll have really good input, and the chamber does so much to sort of tie the valley together that we don't want to bring something up that we're working on or could inform on.
Yeah.
That'd be really helpful information.
And I guess trying to tie this to some really good comments made earlier about, you know, we're small community, we're small town, we're small government. And I realize some things that we might come up with, and this goes back to the mayor's comment about throw it out there and then let's look to see if we've got solutions, et cetera. That is really where I'm going with this. I'm not trying to you know, all of a sudden we are downtown Seattle and I need a Ferris wheel over here in North Bend and we got to have, you know, I'm not trying to push in that direction. But I do want to see if there is a space for some of these ideas that I'm not pretending to have them all or even have the right ones, but I sense from that North Bend community, there's some creative thinking in there, just to use their term. And I love that. And at the end of the day, we all have ideas. And then when we bring them together, they even become stronger and more cool. And that's, I want to be able to deliver on that. I really feel like if I just looked at that list, again, not taking away from their importance to how they impact, like housing, et cetera, is very important. I don't know if that's what we're going to achieve list, so to speak,
Or work on together.
or work
with
on
them.
together
Yeah.
as a North Bend, Snoqualmie JV, I'll call it, kind of thing. That's
That's
a
fair.
voice of concern and definitely a want or desire. That's all. And I think maybe we should do that, get that out and let everybody kind of pile onto it and try to remind everybody to reply all so we all see it, kind of thing. That'd be great.
Great feedback.
I think replying all establishes a quorum. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, we can't
So don't
reply
re-reply.
all.
Don't do reply all.
You can reply to me and then I can send out a refined list to everybody.
Oh,
And
okay.
then, yeah, we'll have to do it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. That's that
But
catch-all stuff.
I want to remember, I want to remind everybody too, like, I don't think that joint meetings with North Bend is just like a one and done thing.
Right.
I think the idea was to coordinate with them more often,
Mhm.
whether that's once a year, twice a year. And just, I think these kinds of discussions will be really helpful
Yeah.
with their group too, because they may be having the same struggles. There's things that are specifically for North Bend, like there's things specifically for Snoqualmie, but then there's also things that we can both do and pull each other in to work together.
I agree with that because nobody's gonna have time to try to meet jointly every month. I get that.
Mhm.
But I also know the difference between getting things done and a rhythm of business.
Yeah.
And what you commented on to me is more of a rhythm of business. And if you take those moments like this meeting coming up on the 18th, if we don't have the right triggers in place, we're still in a rhythm of business.
Mhm.
And that's not getting stuff done. And that's probably my biggest concern because I think we've got an opportunity with a lot of newness to this and a reshaping of things. And, you know, the mayor's comment about wanting to rethink priorities. And I get at the end of the day, the priorities may end up looking just like that because that's reality and that's what's going to get done. I get that. But I just would like to make sure we shoot the best shot we can, kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So that's cool.
Joelle?
Yes, you had mentioned to not reply all, and I understand that. Could we get like a refresh of the, I guess you'd call it like best practices, or as a commissioner, like should we all have city emails? I know I still can't get into mine. Maybe we need to work on that if we're going to be doing things outside of the meeting so that we're following the right rules and procedures.
Yes, I know our city attorney is
When
working
we're
on trying to come up with some training for commissioners. And so I think that will be forthcoming. But maybe I can do
okay.
some level, come up with something. I'll work with Robert and see if we can come up with something.
Mike?
Mike, do you have a comment on
Well,
that?
the next time you're in town, I need you to come over to City Hall and get with our IT staff to help you out on your email.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and if any of the other commissioners are having struggles getting on the Snoqualmie email, please come in and meet with IT so we can get you going on that. It is important that you're getting that correspondence. So I know you're not the only one, Joelle.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Anything else on that old business item?
The meeting on, what was the date? I'm sorry.
February
Thank you.
18th, that's our regular meeting date.
That's one of my questions. That's a Wednesday, right?
Yes,
Okay, great.
Wednesday morning from 8 to 10.
In attendance will be obviously North Bend, this group, and Snoqualmie, this group, sorry, and North Bend's group. Who else? Is it wide open to the public?
Yeah, all of our meetings are open to the
Okay,
public.
okay.
Mhm, yes,
Do we ever know ahead of time who's coming?
typically no.
Okay,
I'm sure Kelly will be there.
yeah. No, I was just kind of curious. It's always good to know if certain people are coming to those.
Who from the city will come and join us?
We'll all be there that you see up here.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, Mayor, I don't mean to speak
Good.
for you.
Kelly?
I don't know if you know this, but I attend the North Bend Economic Development meetings too.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you want some insight in that, I'm happy to give you a little bit on it's completely different. You guys work completely different.
Yeah. I bet.
So yeah, but if you want some insight, and
Okay.
I can actually help with some of that as well, just to let you know how they accomplished what they did.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. No other comment on that? Then we now will move to future agenda topics. I have a topic to suggest. We at the hospital are currently working on getting our CEO Renee Jensen out on a hub roadshow. And so if this group is interested in hearing a presentation from her about what we're doing and our project and all of that, she would be happy to come to one of our upcoming meetings and present to us, answer any questions that you might have. I know a lot of the city folks are up to speed on what we've got going on, but hearing some of the vision behind the why and things like that could be of interest. And then some of our partners on the commission may not know all the things we're doing.
I think it'd be a great idea.
Okay, great. When would be a good time for that?
We probably should put together a work plan for the year where we can kind of plug and play and have that to discuss. So I'll work on getting that ready for the March meeting. And then we'll try to plug it in either maybe April, May, somewhere in there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Is that too late, or do you think she'd like to get?
I think she was
get
hoping
soon?
to come potentially like getting a lot of these meetings done in the community in Q1 or shortly after. So maybe April would be good.
April, okay.
Also, if city council would like her to come there, she'd be open to doing that. So it's just sort of whatever we feel the need is or the desire is.
Okay, and the planning commission as well. I feel like the planning commission's always really interested in hearing about new projects.
Yeah, she would be open to doing any and all of those.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
So we can work on scheduling that offline. Oh, Kelly. Up and down, up and down.
So I think it'd be really cool if you guys could invite Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance here as well, because they do a lot of work here that brings a lot of people. And just so you understand, just how they work, the sturdy dirty that they do. And there's another, what is the other one, Nicole? It's the other. I can't think of any.
We attended it last year in the summer at Snoqualmie Point Park also.
Yeah.
I think it was great. We met a lot of people that we had never met before, a different type of audience that we were sort of trying to capture and grab the attention of. Our staff that attended had a ton of fun watching all the different like jumps and things. And it's totally a different speed than we're used to, but it was really fun.
They're very self-contained.
Yeah.
You know, as much as we would love to have them venture down the road and do things here, they're very self-contained.
But knowing that you care with them will bring a huge amount of them actually coming up with ideas to bring them down. And so it would be a great opportunity to get to know them. I work with them all the time.
Can I ask, what's their name again? Evergreen?
Evergreen Mountain Bike Alliance.
Okay, and they are, I'm going to assume a charity, a 501c3.
501c3.
Group, right? Organized out of where?
North Bend.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Okay. And they're, okay.
They probably drink beer. I don't know.
Oh, they're big.
Well, no,
Yeah.
They're big.
I'm joking.
Well, to that point, I mean, we get a ton of mountain bikers at the brewery all the time.
Yeah.
Do they have an affiliation, like an official affiliation with the park over here, or is this part of their world they utilize?
So Snoqualmie Point Park is one of the top biking destinations in the state.
In the
There's
country.
in the country.
Yeah.
You're right.
No,
In the
you're right.
country.
No, right.
Absolutely. And they've identified that. And we have about 3 bike rides that happen, bike events that happen up there. And Evergreen Bike Mountain, mouthful. It's kind of the through line through all of the groups. I forgot why I jumped in to answer that question. More coffee. Whoa.
Welcome to the
But I
club.
think I got,
Thank you.
that's great though, Nicole, is basically they're a biking group that promotes their sport and they're leveraging the tools and resources they have around them, obviously.
Right.
That was kind of what I was curious about.
Yeah.
When we got started here, I won't call them out as to who they were, but we started sponsoring an over-the-road bicycle group that was here in the valley. And after a couple of years, realized their organizational skills were really lacking, and it never really moved in a direction that was what I thought was constructive. But I think what's going on over there, without knowing all the intimate detail, is there's some good things happening there.
There was a bike event, I think this will be the third year this year that they moved it from Fort Gamble to Snoqualmie Point Park. And like any event, especially when it's a big event and there's a lot of moving parts, no pun intended, it's a heavy lift.
Oh, yeah.
And that first year was, we made it through. And then the second year we learned a lot. And I think this year, you know, things just become a better, well-oiled machine the more that you do it. And then, so there's, I can't think of the name of that one, but that one. And then there's the Sturdy Dirty that is the premier all-women bike event. And they've been doing that longer than I've been here at the city of Snoqualmie. And again, a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
So
we had a group, if Lori Hay were here, she would probably know even more than I do, but a group, I know there was about 7 people that stayed at the Snoqualmie Inn from Wisconsin. And they are very involved with a very large national and now becoming international bicycling group, I'll call it, but it's probably all mountain biking. And they were here doing a survey on the area.
So that's not just the only one. There's quite a few other groups
Yeah.
that are here right now. And it's one of the reasons why we did the biking guide. So there's 638 miles of riding right. We've got some other ones that are world-class as well. There's something different here than anywhere else except for Banff, and it's called Hero Dirt. And Hero Dirt, it's the dirt. So it's a volcanic ash with it grips the tires. And so we are the top place where people want to come, and not just summer, they want to come here year round.
Yeah.
So it's been, we're in the works of that, and it is millions and millions of dollars of impact for our area. And so that's why I think it might be a good time for you guys to know a little bit more about that. And then the other thing that I would really like to bring out is our wedding tourism as well. That has started, we have a $12.5 million impact from us. And Nicole and I have worked tirelessly for the past 4 years going to Seattle to make sure that people know we are the wedding destination. And it worked. We went from 30 weddings to 431 weddings a year. And that's because it caps off, but people come and just do all kinds of weddings, and it makes a big impact. And so I would love to present that and maybe bring a couple other people, just know what the impact is. Lori Hay would know as well, to let you know. And that's where a lot of our LTAC months are coming from, are those weddings that we do have currently right now. So I just think it's just a good idea for everybody to know all this information. And there's more things. Washington Wild is another one that you support, that I support. And we do a lot of work with them. I've done a lot of advocacy for Washington Wild. But just kind of knowing all of these different groups and knowing what is happening around this area, it's not just the biking, it's not just the guide, it's the hiking, it's the different things that are bringing people here. And the ancestral land movement that we are following as well.
Yeah, Kelly, that's good stuff. This is kind of directed at more of the city staff. The one thing that, and each scenario is going to be unique, I guess, to a certain extent, but these groups, a lot of times when we sit here and talk about, ideas, and so forth, we all sit there and kind of go, yeah, but what's that mean can we get it done? Resources, people, et cetera, et cetera. You named Washington Wild, this alliance. It's interesting, if done with some coordination, they'll do the work. I mean, they'll basically be the framework, and they'll drive the labor. You guys, I sound like I'm promoting this, and I'm not. It's a really good example that I have in my hand, is the Loggerhead Festival last year, which was our second year. I had to bring in probably 30 employees, people to pay part-time to do all the things we needed to do to get that done. The second year, I didn't bring anybody in. Washington Wild basically delivered on everything. We had meetings, which was, if there was any kind of draw on us, was a little bit of time to make sure we were coordinating things, because it was reasonably successful. Nobody got hurt. There weren't any city violations of any kind from it or whatever. Space Labs and all these other organizations are like, oh, you need our parking lot, knock yourself out, use it. You know, it all of a sudden became a really cool thing. And I think that's one thing to think in terms of when you think of these workloads, which I know are real. We all have to deal with them. I get it. The chamber, us as individual commissioners, even our businesses are willing and able, if they make sense, to really help contribute to make sure we get a framework so that it will work for everybody. I think that's something that gets lost sometimes in the conversation because it's not the immediate issue. Everybody's just trying to drive an agenda. And so I just throw that out. I think it's important because you can't get it done without people being involved. Kind of thing.
Thank you. That's a good point. And I hate to be a killjoy. I feel like our conversation is really flowing
Yeah.
well right now, but we're all coming up on time and some of us have other meetings we've got to get to and probably get to business and everything. So we probably should think about wrapping up.
Yeah, if there's any other new business ideas, I feel like we came up with quite a few. Hearing, seeing none. Joelle, anything from you?
I was trying to put my hand up. Let me figure out where I'm at right here. So this would be, I mean, this I guess could go on one of the add to the priority list that we have. I'm trying to find my notes right now. Regarding like working with WashDOT to get some signage on, you know, directing people into Snoqualmie. I don't know if there's a possibility of working on that.
Mike's shaking his head. I know
sorry,
you
my
did a
words
lot
are-
of work with them, Mike.
Yeah, WashDOT shot us down.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh,
So-
okay. So that's a non-issue right now, or it's no continued conversation is what you're saying?
Yeah, they shut it down. They own the signs and they control it and they told us no.
Yep.
They feel signage is.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, that is all we have then, and we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Paz.
Yeah.